I must say that there's been some improvements. I wouldn't belittle that point because we saw in the 70s where we had to basically queue for so many things. We had to queue for bread, we had to queue for soap. Basic commodities were virtually non-existent. Balance of payment deficits, and the roads were bad. Infrastructure was just terrible. You couldn't communicate very well. Now we've seen quite some improvements.
Ghana has been one of the most peaceful countries in Africa. We have not had the type of violence that should be experienced in some African countries. Of course, the country has experienced both civilian and military rule and those type of things. But even from the change from civilian to military rule, it has never been so violent as it has been in other countries.
I would say that there are bright spots. There are some areas that we have done well. If you look at the initial stages of our agriculture development model, we use cocoa, cash crop, tiny Ghana, supported by an intelligent government policy of loans, extension officers, technical people to buy the produce from you, people who know the business to be able to go and negotiate contracts overseas to sell the cocoa beans. Tiny Ghana became the world's largest producer of this crop. Illiterate Ghanaians, not stupid, just illiterate, intelligent Ghanaians, farmers gathered their wives and their children to the bush and started planting cocoa. But there was an intelligent government policy that they could buy into. And that when the cocoa beans were dried and put in that made in Ghana cocoa sack, they took it to the weighing station. They weighed and paid them right on the spot. It incentivized them. They increased their acreage. And Ghana made a lot of money to support its development.
I think the first thing is the frequent changes in economic policy. From Nkrumah time, when he embarked on massive industrialization, massive education. In fact, for those of you who don't know, Nkrumah introduced free and compulsory education in 1963, and I was a beneficiary, of that sort of thing. Nkrumah undertook a massive industrialization program across the whole country. Factories established from Ouagadougou, Tamale, Wichi, I name it, and all those type of things. But as soon as he was removed by the military in 1966, and then during Busia time, 1968, 69, the direction of the policy changed. And then before we are aware, the military came in, and from 1972 to 1979, it was a military rule, with no consistent direction of economic policy and those type of things. And then after that, we had a brief of civilian rule, and then we entered into the structural adjustment program from 1983 all the way to 1992, where we had the World Bank and IMF actually dictating the direction of macroeconomic management and fiscal management and those type of things. And then after that, we came to the Fourth Republic, we entered into democratic dispensation, and one party comes after the other. But the certain about it is that has developed, to what people call the politics of clientelism. What that means is that when one party is in power, which means if you don't belong to that party, you're not a Ghanaian. When another party comes, even though the previous party might have started very good policies or initiatives that were not completed but good for the country, they will not continue, and they will start the whole thing. So that has led to frequent changes in policies, in programs, so that we don't have complete implementation of these policies and programs, so that we know the outcome and the benefit. So I think that is some of the things that has happened.
We became import dependent. Our taste buds were dictating what to do. So if you look at Malaysia, Korea, they followed an economic development model that fit their circumstances at the time.
I think where we went wrong basically is not adding value to the raw materials that we had. Malaysia took palm oil from Ghana, and now they are making great income from not just the oil, but also the rafts. Anything that is from the palm tree, they make it significant revenue or value addition to it. Korea and the like. But we have not. We tend to export the materials in its raw form with very little value added, and therefore we make very little money out of it. So that is where we went wrong.
If we have a policy or some kind of a vision that says that the private sector of Ghana is going to be at the apex of our development program. The private sector is made up of not just owners of companies. They are made up of staff, employees. Some people are accountants, some are this, some are this, some are that. If this private sector is organized properly and the internal strength that is created becomes the locomotive to push to produce profits for this company, and the managers of these companies realize that we must go back and raise the low salaries of our people, then you will incentivize them. The purchasing power in our economy would quadruple, and by that, we'll be supporting our own individual private sector companies who become stronger, more bold, courageous, better products, better packaging, and then we can play in the international market, and Ghana will be tall.
We need a leadership to drive the agenda. Once the leadership sets the tone and puts in the structures, I believe others will follow. And over time, we should be able to transform this country. It's not a hopeless situation.
We have to grow the Ghanaian economy very, very strongly, through transformation of agriculture, through industrialization, to be able to create jobs.
We ensure that we manufacture rather than trading, importing and trading. When we import and trade, we are creating jobs for other countries. But when you manufacture and sell, that is when you create the jobs and create income for people's livelihood. So I believe if we focus on this, while at the same time fighting corruption, we'll get there.
Nkrumah started with the slogan, work and happiness. He didn't say just happiness. Work and happiness was his program. And so I think if we want to develop as a nation and become counted as one of the civilized nations on earth, we need to roll our sleeves and get on to work.
The pitfall is this partisanship that we see creeping in our society, where everything is seen along a particular political lens. When somebody speaks, it's either MPP or NDC. I think we should move beyond this partisanship and start thinking, so that if something is good, we say it's good, let's do it better. If something is bad, we condemn it and also ensure that we don't repeat the mistakes. But if we continue to move on this partisanship, then we are very likely to end up maybe even worse than we started.
We must ensure that there's policy continuity. When a particular government in power, all the duties that that party began, if it leaves power and the next government comes, that government must continue those things. Once we are able to do that, I think we'll be able to move forward.